It ain't no thing but a chicken wing.
You got it, bro.
All right. What's going on, YouTube? We're back at. What's going on, YouTube? My name is Mister Allmond,
I'm Mr. Love.
and we are back at y'all with some more SAT math prep. We got about 10 days, I believe, until that August 22nd SAT. So in this video, we're just going to do 5 more SAT questions and just kind of talk about our strategy. If you haven't, we did numbers 1 through 5 in a previous video. So if you are interested, make sure to go check that out. But in this one, we'll just do numbers 6 through 10. We got some geometry, some algebra 2, just a whole bunch of good SAT stuff. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So number 6, we're talking about the perimeter of an equilateral triangle, which it gives us is 624. And then it says the height of this triangle is k root 3 centimeters, and k is a constant, and they just want to know the value of k. All right, so unfortunately, they don't give us a picture, so I'm going to have to make my own. And it says equilateral triangle, so I know obviously all 3 sides are congruent, and they add up to 624. And then they're talking about a height of this triangle. So let me draw that height in there. And for those that don't know, in geometry, whenever they're talking about height, that height always has to be perpendicular to the base. So I always think about like when you measure your height compared to the ground, you're standing like straight up, not slanted. And so that red height they give us as k root 3. As I'm looking at this triangle, I see that I can really get my answer by only looking at like the right half of that triangle, kind of extract, if you will, the right half of that triangle. And then just one more thing I'm remembering, it's an equilateral triangle. So not only are the sides all congruent, all 3 of those angles in my original triangle were congruent. So that means that they all got to be 60. And then that top angle in my new triangle, my height actually bisected that original angle, making that angle then 30. So it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle. We know the length of that hypotenuse, which is going to be a third of 624. So a third of 600 is what, 200? And then a third of 24 is what, 8? So 208 for that hypotenuse. Okay. Now, because this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle, I know that, and this is on the reference sheet too, if you don't have this memorized, but I just know that the side that's across from my 30-degree angle, whatever that side is, the hypotenuse is always going to be double that side. To make that true, then that side across from my 30 would have to be 104. Also, just thinking about properties of 30, 60, 90 triangles, whatever that shorter side is, I know the longer side is just that shorter side times root 3. So that shorter side is 104. So I think that's going to be my value of k. Onward.
All right, number 7. So this time we have an algebra question.
Okay.
So it says the function g is defined by g of x equals x times x minus 2 times x plus 6 quantity squared. The value of g of 7 minus w is 0, where w is a constant. What is the sum of all possible values of w? All right. So they give me g of x, I know this in factored form. And they're telling me that g of 7 minus w is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite that.
Okay. And while you do that, I didn't know that I could see your laser. For the first time I saw your laser.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I was going to say something. I saw your laser in the last one.
Yeah, because that must have been an update. Because I don't think.
Yeah, they clutched up.
Yeah.
Clutched up.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, we have g of x. Now, I noticed when I see g of 7 minus w, that reminds me a lot of a composition of functions. And so if they're telling me g of 7 minus w, I'm replacing the x with 7 minus w. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and rewrite my g of x with 7 minus w plugged in for x. Quantity squared, and they told me equals 0.
Okay.
Okay.
All
All right.
right.
So now we want to find the sum. Sum means we're going to add all the possible values of w. So we need to figure out from this equation what are the values of w. So the good thing is that we have things in factored form. We just need to simplify a little bit to clean it up. Now, again, we're in factored form, so now we can use the zero product property, because if I have a product of a bunch of things equaling zero, each of those things in the product could be zero. So we just take each factor and set it equal to zero. So I can kind of see from inspection though, right? Like 7 minus 0 or 7 minus W would be 0 when W is 7. So this one's going to be W equals 7. Now we're not done because they said, what's the sum of all the possible values?
Something funnier than
7
24.
plus 5 plus 13. 25.
I was thinking while you're doing that, I was thinking about how the Desmos demons could activate right here. I guess you could that initial plugin where you replace X with 7 minus W. I'm sure you can just regression that.
Yeah.
So
you could also plug it in and just find the zeros, find where it across the x-axis.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can definitely Desmos that up.
25. So let's see.
You already drew one triangle for us, so you know.
Yeah, I guess I'm the triangle guy. Okay, so in triangle ABC, it gives us the lengths of AC. I guess I'll just annotate these. So, and then it also gives us BP is 4 root 3. And then they ask us for the length of AB. I'll just go ahead and label that X.
That's kind of like the last problem you did.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. I'm noticing that there's one shorter leg, and then the longer leg is that shorter leg times root 3. And in that case, I know the hypotenuse is just double the shorter leg. So just with that logic, I know that X, or in this case, AB, must be 8.
All right, number 9.
Okay, number 9.
Thanks. All right, so we have this quadratic equation, x squared minus 34x plus c equals 0, where c is a constant in this equation, and the equation has no real solutions if c is greater than n. What is the least possible value of n?
No real solutions.
The Desmos demons out there could.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. You know
what I'm saying? I'm gonna give y'all the algebraic way to do it too, so you can see that way. So when I see no real solutions, my mind automatically goes to the discriminant. So the discriminant, if you think back to the quadratic formula, the discriminant is the expression underneath the radical sign. And that tells you whether or not your quadratic equation has one real solution or two real solutions or no real solutions. We are told that this equation has no real solutions. So that tells me that the discriminant, this b squared minus 4ac, the only way we can get no real solutions is if we have a negative value under the square root, because we get imaginary answers. So I know that b squared minus 4ac equals 0. And if I list out my coefficients in standard form, my a value is 1, my b value is negative 34, and c is just c. So we're going to get negative 34 quantity squared minus 4 times 1 times c is not equal to 0. I lied to y'all. It should be less than 0. Negative 34 squared.
1156.
So I can just, honestly, this is a linear inequality now, so I can actually isolate for c. So I'm going to add 4c to both sides. So I'm going to get 1156 is less than 4c. And since they have c coming first in the inequality in the question, I'm going to just flip the inequality, put the right on the left and the left on the right. And then the inequality sign will just flip. So we got 4c is greater than 1156. Divided by 4, we get c is greater than whatever that is.
289.
289? That's perfect. Now, I do know that's 17 squared. I don't know why I know that.
Why do you know that?
I don't know. But I don't know 34 squared, though. Now, it says the question says c is greater than n. And what is the least possible value of n? Well, I mean, I have an inequality that looks just like that. So n would have to be 289. Right, the least possible value, because n could be, c could be anything greater than that. So yeah,
right,
289.
All right, so we're gonna look at number 10 now. It says in the XY plane we have a parabola already. I'm gonna just draw this off rip. We got a parabola, and it gives us a vertex at 9, negative 14. And then it says it intersects the x-axis at 2 points. So we don't know exactly what it looks like, but it looks something like this. If the equation of the parabola is written in standard form, A, B, and C are constants. Which of the following could be? That wording makes things a little bit tricky sometimes. A plus B plus C is what we're looking for. Well, if they give us, the only point they give us is the vertex. So I feel like we're rather limited in doing vertex form. All right, so for anybody who's not familiar, let me just copy that down real quick. H and K is my vertex, so I'm just going to replace those now. I don't know what A is, nor do I know what X and Y are. So I know H is 9, and I know K, is negative 14. Okay, so that's my parabola with an unknown A. But they're talking about writing it in standard form. So let me just do that real quick. Hopefully by now we're not at the point of distributing the exponent. I had the kid do that in class today.
Oh man.
But tough. Fortunately it was in my on level geometry. If my calc kid did that, he ain't my calc kid no more. No,
right. Immediate crash out.
Right. All right. This is still not in standard form. I'm gonna go ahead and distribute my A. They want to know A plus B plus C. So even though we don't know what those numbers are, obviously, I'm just going to write them in terms of what looks like in terms of A. So my B, which is my X coefficient, that looks like it's going to be negative 18A. And then my C, which is my constant, which is any term without an X, is going to be not just my 81A, but my 81A minus 14. Okay, so I have my ABC. Can I hand it off?
Sure.
I'll go Desmos because I know somebody's watching this, trying it on Desmos as we speak.
Desmos demons.
Desmos demons.
All right, so A plus B plus C. Now, since we have all these coefficients in terms of A, we can just add them up. So A plus B plus C is A plus, which is going to be, I guess, minus 18A plus 81A minus 14. And then combining these like terms, I get A minus 18A is negative 17A plus 81A is 64A. And then minus 14. So this is A plus B plus C, right? In terms of A. Now, since which of the following could be? Well, we know that since our parabola has a vertex at 9, negative 14, and it has two x-intercepts, this parabola has to be concave up, meaning that the A value has to be greater than 0.
Right.
And we know that if A is greater than 0, I'm going to go over here. If A is greater than 0, I'm going to analyze what I know about this expression, 64A minus 14. Well, if A is greater than 0, we know that 64A, if I multiply both sides by 64, 0 times 64 is just still 0. So 64A is still greater than 0. And then if I subtract 14, right, tack on that negative 14, 64A minus 14 has to be greater than negative 14. So that means that my A plus B plus C has to be something that's bigger than negative 14. Whatever it is. It could be a lot of different values because it says could be. So we don't know what the actual value is, but could be. Has to be bigger than negative 14. So that rules out literally A, B, and C. So the only answer here that's viable is choice D.
Yeah, that I like that. And then if you want to also like kind of see it like graphically, if you slide your slider to where A is 0, which you know it can't be, then A plus B plus C is negative 14. So you know it, if anything, you know it can't be C. Because you get C whenever A is 0, but like we just said, we know A has to be positive. And then the thing about it, which is useful with the slider, is you can see whenever A is getting even smaller, A plus B plus C is also getting smaller. So, and so are the answer choices, right? But as we just said, A can't get smaller, you know, because A has to be positive.
Right.
So it literally just can't be A, B, or C.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's for sure a good one. So yeah, let us know how you did if you tried these with us. If y'all are in the midst of y'all's SAT prep and y'all come across problems that you either get stuck on or find good problems, DM us. We can we can kind of help out and make a video on it. But all right, more SAT prep on the way. If y'all made it this far, appreciate y'all for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your study group. You know,
Send this to a high school homie.
facts. So with that being said, we'll catch y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.